A radio show host in Seattle called Paul Gallant.
You are definitely living in the hindsight world today, Paul.
Do you feel there's been a consistent theme with the interceptions?
I think every interception really has a different story.
I was just kind of curious what Paul gets to see.
You got f***ing grow, mother. Are you kidding me?
Paul Gallant, what the hell is wrong with you?
Hello and welcome aboard another episode of the Gallant Says podcast live exclusively on twitch.tv/Gallant Says and youtube.com/Paul Gallant. I suppose that makes it non-exclusive, but also available in podcast form. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. It is Wednesday, January 18th of 2023. A hump day, and we are ever closer to what should be a pretty damn good weekend of NFL games. Saturday, you're going to have the Jacksonville Jaguars and Kansas City Chiefs facing off, 3:30 Central Time. Jaguars coming off that ridiculous comeback that they had against the Los Angeles Chargers, or you could call it a Chargers choke. The Chiefs, meanwhile, the one seed in the AFC, a one seed that definitely has their fair share of issues. No Tyreek Hill, defense not as good as it used to be, even though it has Chris Jones. Patrick Mahomes, though, is still the quarterback of the team, so you feel pretty good about them. Then, later on Saturday, you got the G-Men of New York and their fun run with Daniel Jones perhaps being the second coming of Joe Flacco, about 10 years later, going on the road to take on the one seed Philadelphia Eagles, who breezed through much of the regular season. Jalen Hurts banged up the last couple of games. Then, of course, on Sunday, you're going to have the Cincinnati Bengals and the Buffalo Bills, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, the game that we didn't get to see played to completion because of the Damar Hamlin injury. And then on Sunday, you just have a classic. It's the Cowboys, it's the 49ers. How many great games did those two teams play in the 80s, the 90s? That ought to be a lot of fun. So, a lot of good games, but I would imagine, by and large, the people that are listening to this show, watching this show, whether you are based in Houston, Texas, Seattle, Washington, or somewhere else, you might not have anyone to root for. That's where I'm at. I grew up a Patriots fan. Patriots aren't playing. It's weird. Though I suppose it is getting a little bit normal. The Texans obviously aren't in the playoffs either. What a surprise. And the Seahawks, of course, lost to the San Francisco 49ers last week. So 3 possibilities for me all out the window. I got to figure something out. If you listened last week, I set some rules. I think it's cheating to jump on the Kansas City Chiefs bandwagon with Patrick Mahomes. I think it's cheating to jump on the Buffalo Bills bandwagon with Josh Allen, even with the Damar Hamlin story and everything that Buffalo's been through over the last year with, of course, the shooting at the grocery store this offseason. And the Bengals, I think it's a little bit late if you're joining in on the party, unless you rooted for them last year in the playoffs. You should have, though, come to the party a little bit sooner. Unless you're totally fine just embracing the fact that you're jumping on a bandwagon. And that is where I am at. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to jump on a bandwagon. I don't need to bet on a game to enjoy it, but I do like to have some sort of rooting interest in it. Some people choose to gamble on sports because of that. But I think it gets a little bit tricky when you're talking about point spreads and all of a sudden you might be rooting for a team to cover like that. Fuck that. I don't like that. YouTube.com/Paul Gallant. James Gilstrap comments, "Good afternoon. I'm an Eagles fan, but I'm also cheering for Doug Peterson and the Jaguars." That is interesting. Because didn't Eagles fans kind of run Doug Peterson out of town, or were you trying to run Howie Roseman, the general manager of Philadelphia, out of town? That's something I'm still trying to figure out. I do find it hilarious that the two best coaches in Eagles history, unless you want to put Dick Vermeil up there, Peterson, who won the team's only Super Bowl, Andy Reid, who got the team to 4 straight NFC championship games and a Super Bowl. I think it's funny the way that those fans look at those coaches in retrospect. Gilstrap says, I choose to blame Carson Wentz. You know what? That's a convenient one. I like it. Who can you root for this weekend? We joked on the Paul Gallant show because of Jalen Hurts being from Houston that Philadelphia was a possibility. And honestly, by blood, I theoretically could jump on the Eagles bandwagon. Half of my family is from Philadelphia. My mom is from South Jersey. She grew up in Berlin, New Jersey. My stepdad is her high school boyfriend. Very cool story. Also a diehard Eagles fan. I would like to see my stepdad happy. My stepdad is a good Eagles fan. However, there are others in my family, cousins specifically, who are a little bit annoying. Just a little bit. So I don't really want to jump on the Eagles bandwagon, even though, one, I do not think they are the de facto favorites to cruise through the NFC and win a Super Bowl, though I do think they should be the favorites against the Giants on Saturday night. I also think that they have cool uniforms. They should go back to the Kelly Green 80s look. But I physically cannot jump on the Eagles bandwagon. Anyone else, though? I think you can. I think you can. Now, you're going to, again, have to do some sort of tribute, as we talked about last week, to jump aboard the Eagles bandwagon. Perhaps you have to eat some poo. Perhaps you have to climb up a lamppost. One or the other. You got to do something. But I'm not going to do the Eagles. I'm not going to jump on it. Nope. How about the New York Giants? Fuck that. If you listened to me last week, no. Not doing it. However, they are much more rootable than they've been in years past. Couldn't do it with Eli Manning at all. But there's a part of me that kind of likes Daniel Jones. He played great last week. It's not like Joe Flacco, where Flacco was playing out of his mind and you're like, what the fuck is happening? With Daniel Jones, you got a guy who can scoot, who can run, who's tough, and I think has shown a remarkable amount of resilience, shaking off a plethora of haters over the course of his career. And once again, somehow the Giants have a fucking awesome pass rush. God damn it. I always figure it out, huh? Dexter Lawrence from Clemson, mid-first round pick, really looking good for New York. Their defense, not very good. You saw some signs of that with the way that Kirk Cousins and the Vikings move the ball up and down the field. But to the Giants defense credit, they did shut Justin Jefferson down. I'm not jumping on the Eagles bandwagon. I'm not jumping on the Giants bandwagon. Sunday, between the Bengals and the Bills, between the Cowboys and the 49ers, I can't do the Bills because one of my friends is a Bills fan. Fuck him. I love you, Steve, but fuck you. You know, you've been an insufferable asshole when it comes to the Bills over the last couple of years, and that team is playing sloppy. They should have lost to Miami this past Sunday. I think they'll take the Bengals a little bit more seriously. But there has been a lot of slop of late. Can't do the Dallas Cowboys, though I do like the Dallas Cowboys these days. I do like Micah Parsons, and Dak Prescott is coming off of a great game. If you wanted to jump on the Cowboys bandwagon, I think you had to do it going into that game against Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and be a believer in that game. And honestly, we all should have believed that the Cowboys were going to do to the Bucs what they did. We should have all believed that. All season long, the Bucs have been underachieving, playing sloppily. Tom Brady, how engaged has he been all year long? Where, really, until that Week 18 game against the Commanders, for the most part, the Cowboys were a damn consistent team, showed some really good signs on defense, balanced offensively. Prescott maybe throwing too many interceptions for your liking, but still in spots looking somewhat like the Dak Prescott of old. But it's hard. You can't just jump on the Cowboys bandwagon unless you've already been there or you've done it before. Fun fact, I used to have a Cowboys nightlight, and when I was a little kid, I would say like 5 years old, I did like those Cowboys dynasty teams. I liked Emmitt Smith a whole lot. San Francisco 49ers. They got a lot of players I like. They do. Not Brock Purdy, but I love Deebo Samuel. I love George Kittle. Brandon Ayuk is something else. Christian McCaffrey. I mean, they got on offense around Brock Purdy. You know, who cares who's under center? just get the ball to those guys and let them fucking work. And they got Nick Bosa on the defensive side of things. He's probably going to be the defensive player of the year. You would hope that he's not going to have a fucking meltdown the way that you saw Joey Bosa, his brother, with the Chargers have against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I can't jump on the 49ers bandwagon because I got to show some loyalty to Seahawks fans. And I can't really do it with the Cowboys either because there are some people that live in Houston that hate the Cowboys with a passion. Even though I don't think, honestly, Cowboys are all that bad now that I've gotten to know people that are actually from Texas. Can't root for the Kansas City Chiefs. I can't because fuck Nick Wright. I love Nick Wright. Good buddy of mine. But fuck the Chiefs and all of the talk that they had over the last couple of years about how they're going to win every Super Bowl ever. Oh, what happened? Where were those Super Bowls you thought were coming? Guess what? They didn't come. It hasn't happened. And I do like Nick. Nick is a good friend. But fuck the Chiefs. I can't see Nick win. I don't want first for your pizza take to become a Chiefs pizza party. No, fuck that. And I can't do the Jaguars either. Probably thinking to yourself right now, Paul, who can you root for, you miserable prick? But I can't do the Jaguars. I can't do it. They should have fucking lost on Saturday. They should have lost. What the fuck? I mean, they threw 4 interceptions. Trevor Lawrence started off the game 4 for 16 with 4 fucking picks. 3 to Asante Samuel Jr. And they won that game. No, they don't deserve to be here. I like the teal uniforms. I like Uncle Chaps from Barstool Sports. But fuck them. They don't deserve to be here. They should have lost that game. Chargers should have won it. I know. Woulda, shoulda, coulda, all that bullshit. But look. No. I just can't do it with the Jaguars. I just don't buy into Trevor Lawrence, and I don't want to buy into Trevor Lawrence. And of course, if he plays the way he played in the second half, I might have to at some point. So, nope. Not rooting for the Jaguars. Not rooting for the Chiefs. Not rooting for the Giants. Not publicly rooting for the Eagles, not rooting for the Cowboys, not publicly rooting for the San Francisco 49ers, not rooting for the Bills. I have to choose the Cincinnati Bengals. And I got to show you guys something. It is a work of art. Because I think some of you guys know that there are NFL teams that have fight songs across the NFL. NFL teams have fight songs across the NFL. Jesus, Paul. Yeah, but that's how it works. Some teams have fight songs. And I think this is going to be the game changer, guys. This right here. I'm filibustering a little bit because I'm trying to load up the actual fight song itself on YouTube. But guys, this is something else. It is the Cincinnati fight song. Hang on a second. Again, we're not very technologically smart here on this show. And let me know if you can hear it because we've had this issue before where we play audio and you can't actually hear it. But here we go. The Cincinnati Bengals fight song.
Hear the Bengals growling, mean and angry. Here he comes a prowling. Lean and hungry and offensive brutes.
Run past or roots.
And defensively he's rough. Cincinnati Bengals. That's the team we're gonna cheer to victory.
Touchdown Bengals.
Get some points upon that board and win a game for Cincinnati. Hear that Bengals growling.
Like a polka song.
Here he comes the prowling. Lean and hungry and offensive brute.
Run, pass, or boot.
And defensively he's
Rough, tough.
Cincinnati Bengals.
Here's the team we're gonna cheer to victory. Touchdown Bengals. Get some points up on that board and win our game for Cincinnati. Tell me that song isn't a fucking banger. That song's great. Some comments, twitch.tv/Gallant Says, youtube.com/Paul Gallant. James Gilstrap, the Jaguars bandwagon will be a great ride for 3 hours while they get crushed in Arrowhead. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know what's going to happen in that one. The Chiefs they're just not. There's something missing. I can't explain what. Chris Jones could easily wreck that game for Jacksonville. There's something missing there. It's Choi713 says, I can't wait to see the Giants take the big L. James Gilstrap says, okay, it's no fly, Eagles fly. Look, that fight song sucks for the Bengals, but it's ironically good. Let's play Fly, Eagles fly, though. Fly, Eagles fly, you know? Here we go.
Fly, Eagles, fly, on the road to victory. Fly, Eagles, fly, score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Hit 'em low,
Hit 'em low.
hit 'em high,
Hit 'em high.
and watch our Eagles fly.
Watch 'em fly.
Fly, Eagles, fly, on the road to victory.
You know, like that's a pretty good fight song. Coog Blaze is telling me to play it. It's football time in Texas. I don't know, but let's look. I'm now curious. What other fight songs do we have? 49ers, do they have a fight song? Let's see. What do we got? 49ers fight song, 1985? Huh. Okay. Let's see. Freddie Solomon. Wow, there's a lot of thought behind this one. Okay. All right, I guess we could keep going with that one. There's a lot of thought and production value that went into that. They got a band. It seems like they have a whole choir. Per the YouTube description of this is the official fight song of the San Francisco 49ers. Music by Martin Judnich featuring the San Francisco Gay Men's Chorus with Bernard Green and the NFL Marching Band. Okay. Cowboys fight song. All right. There's Go Dallas Cowboys. There's one from the 1960s. This is also by Bernard Green. There is one Cowboys Stampede March. Go, you Dallas Cowboys, go. Let's hear this one. We're trying to figure out what bandwagon to jump on.
Go! Go! Dallas Cowboys!
Hell yeah, this is it. Oh, this is music. Look at a slideshow. Lazy. Where are my lyrics? It's been 30 seconds.
Stand up! Stampede!
Stand up, stampede. Fuck that. That one's the worst. All right, you can't jump on the Cowboys bandwagon after hearing that. Is there a Jaguars fight song? There's one from the 1990s. I believe RJ of the morning show on ESPN 97.5, 92.5. Let's hear this one. This one's called Uh-Oh, Jaguars Championship Song. Okay.
Hey, you, what you gonna do? Hey, you, what you gonna do? 49ers, what you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
Ravens, tell me what you gonna do? Jets, what you gonna do? Steelers, what you gonna do? Cowboys, what you gonna do? When the Jags come for you? Falcons, what you gonna do? Browns, what you gonna do? Carolina, what you gonna do? Them Jags coming for you. Yo, them big Jags, here they come. You better run, Forrest, run. Because they're coming to your town. Big Cersei about to break you all down.
72, gotta hit him, dog. I'm trying to break through, gotta get him, dog. I'm Big Cersei. I'm off the chain, Super Bowl thirsty, you know what I'm saying? You wanna shake me?
Oh, wait. They got a Jaguars player in this song.
I eat them for lunch. Hit them off with the 1-2 punch. Cersei, take them down.
Okay, Leonard Cersei. All right. The Jaguars one is probably like the best one in terms of overall content. The Bengals one, still my favorite. We're trying to figure out what band we're going to jump on in these NFL playoffs. What else we got? Do the Giants have a fight song? New York Giants fight song. Looked up, Paul. Official New York Giants fight song. I don't know if that's official, but it's 10 years old. There's Touchdown New York Giants, the New York Giants fight song from the 1980s to early 90s. Yeah, this one must be it.
This is Kyle Rote of the New York Giants and Touchdown.
The fuck is this? Where's the lyrics? It's a fight song. No lyrics. All right, come on. There's got to be one with the lyrics. Let's go. Maybe this one has it. We don't have any lyrics. I'm looking in the comment section. Can't find it. All right. Well, of course. Fucking New York, center of the universe. Concrete jungle where dreams are made of. You got all sorts of artists and musicians that come from here. You can't even think up some fucking lyrics for your fight song. On brand. On brand for the New York Giants, but it's fine. What else do we have? I think we have played the fight song for every team except for the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, wait. Can we play the Kansas City Chiefs one? Can we even say the name Chiefs? Kansas City Chiefs fight song. All right, that's Florida State. Yep, fuck you, Chiefs. Come on. Also, racist. Tomahawk chop. Not cool. All right. I mean, there's one more fight song to get to. The Buffalo Bills have a fight song. Let's see. Bills fight song. Let's see what we got. What do we got here?
The Bills make me wanna shout. Kick your heels up and shout. Throw your hands up and shout. Throw your head back and shout. Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now. Stand up now, come on and shout. Yeah, 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 yeah. Say you will. Shout it right now, baby. Say you will. Come on, come on. Say you will. Come on and shout. Say you will. Yeah.
All right, I mean, they're just repurposing a song. Unoriginal. Maybe this one is the fight song.
The Bills make me
Yep,
wanna.
same thing. All right, Jesus Christ, Buffalo. You've had 30 years to think up a new one. Bengals have the best one. Coog Blaze says that song makes him want to crush a table. I don't feel it. James Gilstrap says it's a shame the Vikings lost. Skull Vikings would have been great here. Chewy's trying to give out shout-outs. The one and only Lord Leal. Also to another Lord who works at Christian's Tailgate in the Heights. Why are you giving shout-outs on Twitch and YouTube? Barely anyone watches this. Anyway, whatever. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you watching. Let's shift into talking about something else. Anyone else feel like Aaron Rodgers is just slowly turning into the person he used to hate? Brett Favre. Here's a bit of audio from Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee Show.
Just, some things don't need to be said. I think are more understood implicitly. But do I still think I can play? Of course. Of course. Can I play at a high level? Yeah. The highest. I think I can win MVP again in the right situation. Right situation, is that Green Bay or is that somewhere else? I'm not sure.
Can we fuck off with this? I could win MVP. Is it somewhere else or is it here? I'm not sure. Can you either just retire or go back to the Packers? You're not playing anywhere else. You're not. This is what's driving me crazy about Aaron Rodgers. It's every offseason. It's the same thing. He gets a lot of attention. And this is a guy who is a great online troll, and he likes to fuck with people. He does. He got a kick out of all you people that were losing your fucking minds over his takes on vaccines and things like that. He loved when you guys got mad at him for speaking his mind or speaking his truth or whatever. And you guys enable him. And now, are you going to drift back into wondering, where's Aaron Rodgers going to play next year? He's either going to retire or play for the Packers. And I'm just tired of the back and forth. But now all of a sudden he's once again floating. Well, maybe, just maybe, I could play somewhere else that cares about people. Gilstrap says his passive-aggressive tone. And there's a little passive-aggressive there. Rodgers also brought up the Houston Texans yesterday on the Pat McAfee show.
If there's a rebuild going on, I won't be a part of it.
So they have to figure that out. And do they have to figure that out before you decide that you're coming back? Because then there is kind of a timeline, right? Isn't there?
Well, listen. I don't think any team outside of maybe the Texans this year or some. There's a couple teams maybe who might say, yeah, we're rebuilding.
Oh, damn it. Okay. Well, he says he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuilding team, and the Texans are one. Well, I got excited for a second. Miss me with the Aaron Rodgers offseason talk. We've done it before with Brett Favre. We're going to do it with Tom Brady this offseason. Just tell me when it's over. The speculation every single day. Rodgers loves it. He really does. Do not give him that energy. Do not give him that attention. But we will, and it will be a very tired offseason storyline in March. I never thought Russell Wilson would get traded. He did get traded. But all the talk about where Aaron Rodgers could theoretically be someday was just such a load of fucking malarkey. And here we are. He's still on the Packers. And once again, we're doing the exact same thing we've done the last couple of years. I got a question. Should I try getting into tennis? So I hear that tennis has a television show / Netflix show. It's called Breakpoint. And for those who are into racing and into Drive to Survive, I guess this is similar. It shows what these tennis players are like in their own time. Okay. I'd like to know what a tennis player is off the court. Because to be perfectly honest, I do think of tennis as a cake-eating, lace-curtain sport. Because of that, I just don't really like it. It's not to say that I don't respect the people who play it. I dated somebody for a little bit who played tennis in college, was really good at tennis in college. I know it's a difficult sport. These games, these matches, they last, 4 hours? But I hate that there's no physical contact or violence against one another, and I also don't really like how individualized it is, and it does seem like it's a rich person sport. Even though we're talking about a sport that involves 2 rackets and a ball. I've just never really been into watching tennis matches. It was invented in England, 19th century. And like golf, it just seems like a bougie sport. I'm not into it. But now maybe I should get into it because we're getting a little bit of controversy. The Australian Open, I guess, is beginning soon. Tennis Australia is getting heavy-handed. First off, you will be kicked out of the Australian Open if you boo Novak Djokovic. He's been criticized for his views on vaccination, blah, 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 blah. And this is his first time back to Australia after he was deported last year on health and good order grounds from the Australian Open. Anyone who comes looking to target Djokovic aren't allowed to. Well, what if you're there to target somebody else? Those people are in bounds? I would like a little booing in tennis. I would like the sport to feel like it's a little bit more for a Joe Sixpack, for Blue Collar Bill, for a hard-working man. Hello, Detroit, auto worker. Let me thank you for your time. You work a 40-hour week for a living just to send it on down the line. Tennis needs to be a little more blue-collar. You're not going to let people boo, not just at all, but specifically Novak Djokovic. So other people are in bounds. If other people are in bounds, it would be kind of funny. Oh, you could boo that fucker, but Djokovic, you can't do it. The other interesting development that is coming out of the world of tennis before the Australian Open this week is a story about flags. Tennis Australia banned Russian and Belarusian flags at the Aussie Open after a Russian flag was spotted hanging courtside during Monday's first-round match between Ukraine's Katerina Bandel and Russia's Kamila Rakhimova. I don't know if I got that right. Said Tennis Australia in a statement on Tuesday, flags from Russia and Belarus are banned on site at the Australian Open. Our initial policy was that fans could bring them in, but could not use them to cause disruption. Yesterday, we had an incident where the flag was placed courtside. The ban is effective immediately. We will continue to work with the players and our fans to ensure the best possible environment to enjoy the tennis. Okay, so this does take us down the rabbit hole of Russia versus Ukraine, a war that, in my honest opinion, we should have no part in, but we are the United States of America fighting essentially as a proxy war. Billions of dollars keep on going over from the United States to Ukraine. I guess we're going to build a bust of Zelensky, the leader of Ukraine. That seems kind of strange. I don't know why all of a sudden he's an American hero. I hate to be an isolationist, but I also don't particularly like being world police. And unless we are really concerned about Russia's taking over the entirety of Europe without our help, which I don't necessarily think is going to happen given the whole NATO deal, the alliance that the United States and most of Western Europe have to sort of check Russia. I don't think that's going to happen. It sucks that Ukraine's getting invaded. It's wrong that Ukraine's getting invaded. It seems like, though, there are some things that perhaps we don't understand all the nuance of between Russia and Ukraine. Not justifying it, by the way. It's fucked up that they invaded. No country should be invading another sovereign nation. But to bring it back to the Australian Open, say you are legitimately just a fan of a Russian tennis player. You're not allowed to have a flag because it's Russian or Belarusian. What if you're Ukrainian and you bring a Ukrainian flag? So the Ukraine flags are allowed? The Ukraine flags that you see on people's social media profiles to the side of their name, the Ukrainian flags that you might see flying store side, at shops and places across the country. There's a person that lives across the hall from me in my condo complex who has a Ukrainian flag outside of their door. So that flag's allowed, but Russian and Belarusian flags aren't. American flags allowed? I don't know. I do think it's kind of bullshit that you can't root for somebody from your own country because a country that you live in is fighting a war against somebody else. It's not like you have any say in it. I don't know. I feel like you're allowed to be patriotic. Even if we disagree with how patriotic you might be, it's strange. And Australia, they've drawn a lot of perhaps lines that have gone too far over the last couple of years. If you've seen any of the stories that have come out about the restrictions that they have had during COVID-19, they've gone fucking crazy. You know, I thought Seattle was bad, but Seattle wasn't anything in Canada, and Seattle wasn't anything that was taking place in Australia, where, you know, they were basically, you know, stopping protests with horses on police on horseback because they were like, oh, you can't do this, you can't gather, all these things. So I think it's strange that they're drawing the line here, but I don't know. All this controversy makes me kind of want to get into tennis now because it's not just a sport for rich people where matches last 5 hours. It's also a sport that has international ramifications. Ukraine's ambassador to Australia and New Zealand, Vasil Miroshnichenko, called for Tennis Australia to ban the flag at the tournament. I strongly condemn the public display of the Russian flag during the game of Ukrainian tennis player Katerina Bandel at the Australian Open today. I call on Tennis Australia to immediately enforce its neutral flag policy. But she was playing against a Russian. What the fuck? What's wrong with rooting for Kamila Rakhimova because she's Russian? Anyway, that's me. Perhaps that's not you. It seems like a weird line to draw. Oh, they invaded. You can't root for that team, but you can root for this country. Ukraine's got its own shit going on. One last story before we hit the road. This is a Rolling Stone headline. I just want to read through the piece. Students can carry guns at the University of Texas, but they can't use TikTok. Hell yeah. What a fucking headline. You are no longer able to access TikTok on any device if you are connected to the university via its wired or Wi-Fi networks, reads a notice that appears on the devices of students at UT Austin after the school announced it would be blocking the use of the social media app on university Wi-Fi and servers. It was prompted by an order from Governor Greg Abbott banning the use of the app on state-owned devices on grounds of security concerns. Then Rolling Stone brings up something that's rather unrelated. Student can still, however, carry a gun on campus. Okay, so I suppose there's some hypocrisy there. You can't really kill somebody with TikTok. You can kill your brain cells. You can become a vegetable when you're around other people because of TikTok. I know that there's somebody who I consider very close to me. The last time that we hung out, just the two of us, this person was buried in her phone looking at TikToks for a while to the point where I thought it was actually kind of rude. I don't think TikTok is good. I don't think it's good for kids. I don't think it's good for adults. I think it's one of those things that, one, makes you believe that you can become a famous person, a rich person, based off of just doing absolutely nothing. And it can happen for some people, but it's only going to happen for a select random few. Also, I just think it's something that you slowly become addicted to without even realizing. And every single app these days on social media, Twitter, Instagram, has incorporated some form of TikTok into its usage to, I imagine, get people actually addicted to it. So when I look at universities, state-run universities, blocking TikTok from use on Wi-Fi or on campus, I don't have a problem with it. I actually think it is good. I think people could use a break. Now, you might have an unlimited data plan or something like that, like I do with T-Mobile, formerly Sprint, so you can do it still, and I think you would probably have the signal to do it. Maybe you don't, though. What's wrong with someone limiting your usage of that app? I don't have a problem with it. Bringing up the fact that you can carry guns on campus, though, is funny. And I wonder who wrote it. I wonder if this person for the Rolling Stone who wrote it is some like 20-something-year-old writer. I didn't bother to check. I don't really care. E315 says, remember the shooting in Austin at the 1966 University Tower? Well, maybe if that guy had TikTok, he wouldn't have done it. It's fucked up that it happened. Shootings happen a lot. If there was a recent shooting at the University of Texas, then yeah, I could understand how someone would be like, yeah, it's kind of crazy you could carry a gun on campus. But it's a Texas thing. While students and faculty, under the guise of their own and the university's safety, will no longer be allowed to access TikTok via university Wi-Fi, they can still carry a firearm on campus. Texas campus carry laws permit students to carry concealed handguns on campus, including in classrooms. It just seems unrelated to the TikTok story. Like you're trying to expose hypocrisy, but these two stories aren't related unless you have a story to bring up that's recent. And as E315 said, yeah, remember the shooting in Austin in 1966? That did happen. Texas has seen some of the nation's most brutal mass shootings in recent history. The massacre at Uvalde with 19 children and 2 teachers, the 2019 killing of 23 at an El Paso Walmart, UT Austin, of course, the gunman who shot and killed 15 people, injured 31 others from the main building tower. I get what this article's trying to do, but I feel like you're combining two things to explain your own personal belief. It's ridiculous you can have TikTok on campus because of privacy concerns. You can't have that on campus, but you can have a gun on campus. And I get it. Like, you expose some hypocrisy here, I guess. But I feel like you got to bring up something that actually happened at the University of Texas recently that makes it so that having that concealed gun on campus isn't actually an issue. Someone had a concealed gun on campus. I don't know. Maybe someone kills the dude who got up in the main building tower and killed 15 people with a sniper rifle. It's not like that guy was doing that with a pistol from the top. So if people had guns, would they have been able to stop him? Not saying that's what you ideally want, but if you want to sit around and wait for law enforcement to show up, well, more people are probably, sadly, going to end up losing their lives. So there you go. Anyway, I thought that would be an interesting way to wrap things up. Paul Gallant here for the Gallant Says podcast. I almost called it the Paul Gallant Show. No, this is the Gallant Says podcast. Big thanks to everybody who tuned into today's show. Make sure that you tune in every single weekday afternoon, 1 o'clock Central Time to about 1:30. We talk about sports. We talk about football. We talk about politics. We talk about life. So for my Twitchers, my YouTubers, and everyone on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and SoundCloud, I am merely Paul Gallant. If you haven't already, please subscribe, rate, review, whatever you can do on whatever medium you choose to watch this show. So long, farewell. Have yourselves a wonderful Wednesday. Peace!